Y'all, it's time for some damn good tacos in college football. We're excited to announce our title sponsor, Torchy's Tacos, for the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk, and the new addition to the Hogville.net family, the Arkansas pregame show starring former Hog running back Marshall Foreman, hosted by Jason Pattison. If you're looking for a place to unwind and call the Hogs, Torchy's is the place. Torchy's location on MLK in Fayetteville is the proud host of the Arkansas pregame show, and it will air 2 hours prior to kickoff of each Fayetteville home game. The Arkansas Football Report airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. in Rogers. Check out the full-service bar on the patio or in the restaurant while you cheer Arkansas on to victory. Torchy's has you covered with the daily drink specials or the taco of the month with their queso that's made in-house fresh daily. Torchy's has 2 convenient locations in Northwest Arkansas, which happen to be the only 2 locations here in the great state of Arkansas. They have you covered for some damn good tacos, and go Hogs.
And welcome everybody to the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk. I'm Jason Pattison. I want to thank you all for joining me this evening. It's December 12th, 2024. I've got 2 special guests that will be joining me tonight, Marshall Foreman and Dudley Dawson. Otis, on the other hand, he is out handling portal stuff. We're going to go all over the portal tonight. We're also going to look at the signing class that Arkansas brought in. Sam had his press conference at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll talk a little bit about that too. I want to thank Marcus for all the great hospitality that he shows us every week. We are here at Torchy's Tacos live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. You can click and subscribe to the Hogville YouTube channel. You can catch all past shows from Otis, Dudley, Kevin, and Marshall. Be sure to stop by either of the 2 Torchy's locations in Rogers or Fayetteville here in Northwest Arkansas, which happen to be the only locations here in the great state of Arkansas. You can try any of their great tacos or the Swinger Taco, which is the taco of the month. Pair that with any of the house-made queso, and you will open your taste buds to a whole new world. I want to thank Carbless Cocktails. You can try any of their 9 different flavors. They are 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and only 100 calories. They are exclusively here at Torchy's Tacos and at your neighborhood grocer. Have 8 different vodka flavors and 1 tequila flavor, which is the tequila margarita. And be sure to try any of those. Also, it's going to be some bowling time here very soon on the 27th. Arkansas is going to be matching up against Texas Tech. We're going to go into a little bit of that as well later on in the show on the 27th at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. Be sure, now, if you stop by here at Torchy's Tacos, mention Hogville for a 15% discount at the register, so that way you guys can save a little money and spread a little bit more cheer across this great season. All right, so he was in the promo. I got him coming on right now. Here he is. I got my guy, Marshall Foreman. Man, how you doing tonight?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Loving this weather.
I was going to say, you're not freezing your keister off, so it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah, it gets a little chilly out there sometimes.
Whew. Man, I'm going to tell you, there's been a lot of Razorback fans here I'd say less than a week. They've lost their minds. They've regrouped their minds. They've lost their minds again, and it seems like that a lot of Arkansas fans' emotions have swayed with the pendulum as every one of these players either decides to stay or go. From a player's perspective, what does that look like as far as them making the best decision for themselves versus listening to fan reaction?
You know what, Jason? I mean, you look at this and you watch what's happening, and we all know that there's going to have to be some more rules put in place to protect teams and players. But, I mean, like I said earlier, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, they are kids. Believe it or not, they are kids, and they're not as smart as fully grown adults. But anyway, I mean, I think I would probably be the same way if I was in their position, if this was happening when I was in school. Because you know what? Hey, if I start thinking about more money or more exposure, and I can transfer without any penalty, yeah, I'm gonna look into it.
You know,
Especially if I didn't have the season that I thought I should have.
I've thought about this too. Arkansas had a 6-6 season. It's something that I had kind of an idea of. I predicted at the beginning of the season. I felt like the team had improved. I don't think it improved where maybe Sam might have anticipated it improving to. There were a couple of games that they did leave out there. There were 2 games in particular, Missouri and Oklahoma State, that were very winnable. Had
Oh yes,
leads, should have
yes,
won, should have been 8-4 really. And
yes.
whenever you have a team, and I'm not going to say they overachieved, they may have underachieved really. If you look at the roster, you look at the coaching staff, and you look at the way that they've played, whenever you go into the exit interviews, you're also going to get an interview as a 6-6 player, not an 8-4 player. And I think that also has not really set well with some of these players.
I mean, I guarantee it hasn't. I mean, especially people like Green and people that's the head of the captains of the team. I mean,
Yeah,
they know, and they probably feel it every time someone brings it up that there is no way we should have lost those 2 games that you were just talking about.
no,
I mean, we found ways to give them back.
yeah. That was, I think that's the hardest part. Whenever a player enters the portal, I know that's a lot different whenever you played versus now. And whenever you have a player that enters the portal, they have the opportunity to come back if the coaching staff is willing to let them come back. You've had a record number of players that have entered the portal this year. I do believe the number is right around, I think Sam said between 32 and 3,400. A couple of
Right.
years ago, it was like 1,200. So you're looking
Right.
at 3 times as many players. Now, Arkansas has that opportunity to get some of those players that might fit the system that some of these other players might not have, and improve in that way.
Well, I think what's going to happen with this portal, with anything else that's new like this, and I'm hoping this is the peak of those numbers. And once it hits the peak, we know it's going to go back down when it all calms down a little bit and these players figure out exactly what it is and what it's really about.
Yeah.
But man, that's a lot of players to be out there just free. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, man. I mean, sometimes I'm like, man, this is great. This is great. They get to go out there and see what's out there
Make some
for
real
them.
money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but honestly, most of these players in the portal aren't making that real money. People don't realize that there's only 2 or 3 players on each major college team that's actually making that kind of money.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is that, and I know that Sam had talked about having a core group of players come back to university. He was a little blindsided by a couple of them. I think, and I'm not going to go into players' names at this point. I think we all kind of know exactly who that was. And it's been pretty well documented over the last 48 hours of folks that have identified saying these are the certain players that Sam wanted to come back. They didn't come back. They are going to test it's free agency. They're testing their feet in the waters. They were given a number. This is how much Sam felt like that they were going to dictate to play on this team next year. If they wanted to stay here, they have the option to stay here and not take any money if they don't want to. That starting position is theirs.
Right. But like we said earlier, I mean, people are gonna chase that dollar. You dangle it out there, they're gonna chase it.
It's agents is what it is. It's agents, because these players they don't know exactly what their cap market dictates.
Right.
They don't know what their market cap is. So they got an agent sitting over here on the side saying, "Hey, by the way, Ole Miss is going to offer you, say you're getting $65,000 a month. Ole Miss is willing to give you 85. Well, they're going to come back and say, hey, Sam, can you match this or counter? If he doesn't want to, and you feel like it's not going to be in the best interest of how much he's able to spend, no, he's going to say, go walk, have fun, see if you can go get that.
Yes, good luck. Well, I mean, hey, if they offered you that, why are you sitting here talking to me?
Exactly.
If you want to be here, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
And the thing is that some of these players are realizing that the negotiation skills that they have, or they think they have, or their agent that is trying to represent them in what their best interest is not quite working out with like they thought it would.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of agents out there that are idiots. I mean, your best agents, they know who their players are, know what their players are good at, know what their players need to be running, and know what schools match them. It's not all about the dollar right now. They're thinking at the bigger picture that, hey, you need to be here. You only making this much here, but this is where you need to be because it's going to make you a lot more money in a couple years when you're in the NFL.
It is.
Those good agents know that. They study that.
They do, and that's why they have these breakdowns that they present to these players and say, hey, this is what this school's offering. This is what the market dictates right now with your position in the best conference in the nation. And this is how much money you could be making if you went to X, Y, or Z, instead of staying at Arkansas. There's been a lot of folks that have been pretty worried because there were some, I wouldn't say promises, but there were some understood thoughts that there were certain players that were going to be coming back. They were solid no matter what. And then all of a sudden, you got players that are jumping out into the portal. And it's not only, I wouldn't say it's scaring folks, but it definitely is. You got alarms, you got bells, you got whistles, you got red lights flashing all over the place. What's happening here? I can't get a hold of this. I can't get a grasp of this because what we were told is not what is happening right now. And I really feel like the majority of the reason why this is happening is because we are at 1-year contracts right now with these players.
Right.
These guys are only bound by 1 year. If they were signing 2-3-year contracts and they're having to pay a penalty if they go into the portal, I don't think that you see this nearly as much.
No, I'll guarantee you wouldn't see it nearly as much. I mean, you think about it. I mean, your livelihood and your job tell you, okay, you got a year contract. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to search for something that's a little more stable than that, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Because I mean, and that's a lot of worry to worry every time that year getting ready to end.
And that's what's so.
I mean, you know what? And probably some of the better coaches and athletic directors are addressing these 1-year contracts months before those contracts are up and making sure that these guys aren't going to the portal. You can't wait to the last minute and say, hey, okay, let's go talk to John Doe. I mean, I know his contract's up here in about a month. It's a little late. That should have been addressed 3 or 4 months ago. I mean, you got to tell those kids, hey, we want you here next year. Just so you know. We know your contract ends here, but we want you here next year. And if we need to negotiate this thing right now, let's do this right now.
See, and that opens kind of a can of worms, because if you're looking at that 3 to 4 month time period, that means that you're renegotiating contracts during fall camp.
You got to do it.
And you have about a 2-week period between SEC media days and then when fall camp starts. Fall camp runs all through August, and then end of August, 1st of September, season starts. Realistically, should they use that 2-week period between SEC media days and fall camp to hammer all of this stuff out, get it out of the way, and be done with it?
It can't hurt. I mean, you and I are not coaches, but we sit and watch these games every week we watch these games. By the fifth, sixth game of the year, we know who we want back.
Yeah.
So it's as soon as you know that you want this person back, you might want to start working on that right now. That's what it's come to in college football.
And that's why the University of Arkansas needs a general manager.
I agree. I'm available.
Oh, your services are always welcomed. I'm telling you. I mean, seriously, you think about it. Think about it for just a second. Your background would not hurt this university one bit. Only thing it would do would improve it. I would advocate for it, other than the fact that I got to have you on my show next fall. If we could work that out, I'd be all right.
I'm pretty sure they'll give me a couple hours every now and then. Okay, we have to put that in the contract. Okay, every week Marshall gets 2 hours off to do his podcast.
Man, I got to ask you something really quick. As a coach, because you coached, I do believe arena league level, correct?
Right.
Okay. So you've got core players that you're wanting to come back next year, right?
Right.
And then now some of those core players are saying, you know what? Deuces. I'm out of here. I'm checking out. You could tell that the writing maybe was on the wall a little bit during practice. How do you address that whenever these guys that you identified as core players that you want back next year, they take off and you're kind of blindsided by it? I mean, how do you approach that as a coach?
Well, most of those players, it's not a blind side because you already have them under contract and they're not free to just up and go. And the ones that contract is coming to an end, like we mentioned earlier, you address that early in the season.
Yep.
And if by chance you miss one or two and you do get that surprise when the season's over or close to the season ending, you try to negotiate then if it's not going to work. And if it doesn't work, you just hope that those camps you have throughout the off season where you're looking at other players, that you find someone that can fill that spot. I mean, that's all you can do.
I'm going to blow your mind for a second because I've been kind of running this through my mind for the last couple of days. When you mentioned renegotiate or making sure that those contracts in July, August timeframe are solid going into the next year, what about a signing bonus? What about making the deal a little sweeter, just like the NFL, for instance?
No.
And can't do it?
No. I'm pretty sure they can pass anything they want to pass to make it happen. But I'm just saying no. Yep. They're already getting more money than they need, and I shouldn't say that. They're already getting more money than they need. There's not much money we spend in college. I can honestly say, if I wanted to, I could go a whole week when I was in college on full scholarship. When I was in college, I can go a whole week on about $10.
Stretching it, my friend.
But I'm just saying, it worked. I mean, you're not paying for anything. I mean, they made sure that you ate as much as you wanted to eat. They made sure your housing was taken care of. They made sure, I mean, whatever you need. I mean, if you need to see a doctor, they everything was taken care of. I mean, I might need a couple of dollars to go to the movies. I mean, I might have a girlfriend. Who knows? But I mean, that's not a necessity. I mean, I mean, the more money you throw in the pot, it's not going to make it better.
So you got a guy that he takes his last NIL paycheck, right? Gets it, hits the portal, he's out, right? He wants to come back. What is it? I mean, what in place is there that Sam can say, you know what, by the way, we evaluated you when you left, right before you left, we evaluated you and your market cap is say $15,000 a month right now, right?
Right.
You come back, we got some guys that we're looking at out there. It says free agency. You come back, we're going to only ask you to take 10.
Yeah,
I'm
I
waiting
mean
for that to happen.
It's already happening. I guarantee it's already happening because as soon as you tell me that you're hitting the portal, I'm trying to replace you.
Yeah.
And if by chance I do bring someone in that I think is better than you, that's going to help us more than you, and then you come back and say, "Hey, listen, I want to come back." Okay, you're welcome to come back. But you know what? That money you were getting, I'm giving it to this other guy because he's better. That's the chance you take when you when you when you're not being loyal. I mean, at some point you got to be loyal to who's with you, where you at.
It seems like a lot of players are loyal to the agent that they're bound with right now. Other than that, that's who they're loyal to, because a lot of fans are having to choose to root for the shirt and not for the player.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all about that dollar. I mean, it's new, man. This thing is new. You got to chase it. I mean, and most of them hadn't figured out how the best way to chase it works. I mean, they're figuring out as they go, and we're figuring it out as it goes. That you know what, chasing that dollar is not always the best way. You might need to be chasing your best situation.
That's what a lot of these players are starting to figure out, is maybe it's not worth the money. It's worth the visibility of being in a great situation, a great offense. That, and I know that we've done a lot of majority money talk as far as the portal goes, but what really gets lost in the whole shuffle of this is the best place for that player not to make the most money he can now, but trying to better himself to get into the NFL. Because at this point, I feel like I wouldn't say it's perverted it, but it really kind of has muddied the waters of what a player is trying to do, which should be getting to the NFL, which that ultimately is the goal for every player out there that's in college football, because that's where they want. But some of them are really more concentrated on trying to find the biggest bag that they can get, and to hell with the next level.
Right. I mean, they're just you're throwing something in their face to make them lose sight of what the real goal is. I mean, that 85, 90, 200, 300, $400,000 that they might get this year has clouded their whole judgment on. I came to Arkansas because it was the best fit for me. It was my best chance in that offense or defense to make it to the next level. But Tennessee is offering me a little more money right now, even though their offense is purely run, and I'm a passing quarterback. But I'm gonna go take this money right now. I mean,
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that money's blinding them. I'm telling you, that little money, and it's a little money when you consider what they're trying to do, where they're trying to go. Because going to that next level, now you're talking a lot more money. There's only a few college players that's making that kind of money right now.
You know who I also feel sorry for? I know that a lot of people probably might agree with me on this, but the underwriters for the insurance is on these players as well, because every time their worth keeps bouncing so drastically. I know that you have a certain amount, say for instance, last year you had a $2 million policy on you. If you get hurt, this is what happens, and this is what you could possibly get. But now they go into the portal, they get offered $2 million. That insurance policy, it's not looking good for the insurance now, because now the person that they're insuring is worth more than what they thought they were before.
See, I'm not up to date on that part of it, but I mean, these insurance policies you're talking about, these are insurance policies that the players are taking out on themselves or someone else.
Yes. So there are players that do take insurance policies out on themselves, kind of like, and I think they do that in the NFL as well. if something does happen. I know that college players have done this before, where they say, okay, well, your projected earnings could be X, Y, and Z. If something happens to you while you are in college and
Right.
you're not able to, go to the next level, this is what happens if you were, 30% disabled, 40% disabled, 50% disabled, something like that, where you're not able to perform the duties that you were wanting to do to go to that next level. So I think that that's another thing that you have to look at, because now some of these players' worths are going up and up and up and up, and it's a very, very muddy market out there right now with this.
It's like any other contract. You sign that contract. That's what I mean. That contract is your guideline until that contract is void and you sign another one. I mean, so you saying these? I mean, honestly, if I was Shador Sanders or Archie Manning or one of those players like that, you know what? I would have Lords of London insurance policy on both knees. I'd have Lords of London insurance policy on my neck, on my shoulders.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. I mean, why not?
yeah. I mean, at this point, because you've got to protect yourself, because at the end of the day, that contract is only protecting the two people that are interested in most in that contract, which is the school and the agent.
Right.
End of story. That's where the
Oh
player gets lost.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're a part of it though, man. I mean, it's
Yeah,
everybody that's making money off of it, they're a part of it.
they are.
So
I want to bring this up really quick, because you played in bowl games before. Arkansas right now is down to 60 scholarship players, right around 60 scholarship players. You're looking at some fill-ins. You got Joe Moore might be stepping in either center or guard. You've got Keyshawn Blackstock, or maybe even the kid from Fort Smith, Kobe Branham. You've got hold on just a second. I got his name up here. Even Blake Edmondson, walk on from Bryant. Whenever you've got some backups that didn't see a lot of time or hardly any time this year, how competitive can Arkansas be? And I know that Texas Tech is kind of feeling the same heat, because I think they're losing 11 starters right now.
right.
I mean, how hard could this be to watch as far as a quality football game that not only the AutoZone is hoping to have, but also ESPN and folks wanting to see a good football game? It really is starting to trash the quality of this game, when you have so many people that are leaving that are not going to play.
Well, the way I see it is, if both sides have lost a number of players to make, and it's still somewhere equal, it'll be a good game, because the competition is gonna be about the same on both sides. You hope. I mean, especially the people that's putting this game on. But I mean, yeah, I think the only way we're gonna be able to tell that it's a bad game as if one side just is really that much better because of this portal. But I mean, we won't know unless the game is just lopsided.
Yep. Really quick, Arkansas last faced Texas Tech in 2015, where Patrick Mahomes came into Razorback Stadium and ripped them up 35-21, sorry. If I'm not mistaken, Jared Cornelius, actually, I think he broke his leg in that game as well. He was coming across the middle and got banged up pretty bad. But that was the last time Arkansas faced Texas Tech. Actually, the year before that, they beat them 49-24, I think it was. And Alex Collins ran all over those guys. And at Texas Tech, which, I mean, there's some folks that I still to this day say that, if you can win at Texas Tech, you should be able to win. I mean, honestly, it's not a hard place to lose at. And, and back in the day when you were playing, I mean, they weren't that good anyway.
No, that Texas Tech wasn't great. Not one the years we played them. I mean, they were good, but they wasn't great. I mean, it was one of those games that we thought we were going to win every time we played them. And I think the one time that we did lose to them,
Yeah.
end up being really, really big, because I think at the time we were ranked like 8 or 9 in the nation, and we lost to a team that we wasn't in the top 25.
Man.
So
Well, Marshall,
I guess
thank you for joining me, man.
not a
I
problem.
appreciate it. Jumping on. I feel like your perspective is it's valued because you've been there. You've been a Razorback. You went through, the college game. You went into the Arena League games or the pro side of that of football, and your perspective is very unique. A lot of fans are not able to get that perspective, and that's what I value so much that you're bringing to the table. And man, every time we talk, it's always great.
Appreciate you, brother. It's a little different looking at the game whenever you're making the decision on a young man's livelihood, when you're the one that's saying no, we can't pay you that. Actually, we don't need you. I'm gonna have to cut you. It makes a big difference in the way you look at it whenever it gets to that point where you're making that decision. So yeah,
Yep.
I look at it a little different.
Yep. That's what we need, man. We need those perspectives because as fans, the last, even media members as well, the last 48 hours, everybody's shaking their heads going, okay, we knew this. Now we're seeing this. What exactly is going on? Is it something wrong? Is it something that we're not understanding? Is it something we're not seeing? Because all indications of what we were given, now they're leaving. And so it almost makes it look like there's a disconnect between the coaching staff and the players, which I don't feel like is. I think, like you said, they kind of knew exactly where it was. It's just that they may have been caught a little off guard, but they may
Right.
just have to go re-recruit those guys if they want to keep them.
I mean, it didn't. I mean, I think that's why Saban got out of the game, because it's to the point now where you have to be a used car salesman. I said that before. You have to be a used car salesman, and you have to do it every day. You got to be ready to replace people every day, every year. So it's crazy. The game is crazy. It's probably gonna get a little worse before it gets better.
Yeah, man.
So,
well, thank you for joining again. It's always fun talking with you, and hope you get some people out of jail tonight.
yeah, actually, I need to write a couple tonight.
All right,
no,
man.
it's always good. Tell Dudley I said hello.
Will do. All right, y'all.
All right,
on the other side of the break, we're going to have Dudley Dawson join us here shortly, and this is the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk. Special guest tonight, Marshall Foreman and Dudley Dawson, here live at Torchy's Tacos. We'll be back in just a moment.
Y'all, it's time for some damn good tacos in college football. We're excited to announce our title sponsor, Torchy's Tacos, for the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk, and the new addition to the Hogville.net family, the Arkansas pregame show starring former Hog running back Marshall Foreman, hosted by Jason Pattison. If you're looking for a place to unwind and call the Hogs, Torchy's is the place. Torchy's location on MLK in Fayetteville is the proud host of the Arkansas pregame show, and it will air 2 hours prior to kickoff of each Fayetteville home game. The Arkansas Football Report airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. in Rogers. Check out the full-service bar on the patio or in the restaurant while you cheer Arkansas on to victory. Torchy's has you covered with the daily drink specials or the taco of the month with their queso that's made in-house fresh daily. Torchy's has 2 convenient locations in Northwest Arkansas, which happen to be the only 2 locations here in the great state of Arkansas. They have you covered for some damn good tacos, and go Hogs.
And everybody, welcome back after break here live at Torchy's Tacos, as we are every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Just had Marshall Foreman on, got a great perspective from him as far as what the portal has done, as far as to college football, but for the coaching side of it, from the player side of it, and exactly what is happening maybe behind the scenes, and he was able to give us some great insight. But now, without any further ado, got my second guest for the evening and got Dudley Dawson on board. Dudley, how's it going, my guy?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing excellent here tonight. Got a lot of people watching tonight. We got a lot of people here in the restaurant. It's been a great evening so far. Talked a little bit about the portal and how, well, not a little. We talked a hell of a lot about the portal and exactly what fans are kind of feeling, because they've been very boisterous about not only have the players that have jumped in the portal, but exactly what the coaching staff and the grasp that they have, because Sam identified that there were some key players that they wanted back that did hit the portal, and it's left a lot of fans kind of wondering.
Yeah, I think as we look at this, I do think some fans seem to think Arkansas is the only one that has these people transfer away. But then at the same time, when you're leading the SEC and leading the nation in amount of people get in the portal, there's it's okay to be outraged, especially after a 6-6 season. They were better than they were last year, but still 6-6 is not what you want for the gold standard of the program. Obviously, 29 guys coming in, and I understand that it's going to get better. They're going to get some good players. I mentioned that today. The messaging, and I don't know whether it's just the way the NIL, the portal, and all that is. That the messaging from Arkansas needs to get better. Maybe when they hire a general manager to which seems like it might be a thing that's coming here maybe in April or sometime like that. I think it would be better. There needs to be somebody coaching the program, somebody running the program, different type things, and it's just gone so big now and has so many dynamics and facets to it that it's hard for a head coach to handle everything, and that's why you see so many of these general managers. I'm not sure that I like that name, because that's a pro thing, but my goodness, we're in a pro situation now. We call it collegiate athletics now, so whatever.
I feel like over the last couple of years, everybody on both sides of the table here, both players and coaches, were testing the waters a little bit. What is this going to look like? How is this going to hurt us? How is this going to help us? And once they figured out that the water was lukewarm, I feel like this year everybody went straight full in head first. And it's really it's upset a lot of folks because they weren't really ready for the drastic change that this has brought on in college football. And the one thing that I have kind of looked at is you're replacing players that were on a 6-6 team. Do you want players back from a 6-6 team, or do you want players that might help you get to that 8 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins?
Yeah, that's one of the things. Should you be this upset about kids transferring and getting in the portal off a 6-6 team? I could understand it if you'd gone 12-0 and were in the championship game and all that. It is going to be disappointing. I think that what the team they're going to take over to Memphis for the Liberty Bowl, and Texas Tech seems like they have most of their guys, even if they're transferring out, are going to get to play. Yeah. I stress and preach patience, although sometimes I don't adhere to that philosophy. But I totally understand the criticism, and I think part of the criticism is not only because of the way that the kids have gone, but the messaging part. You can't have kids jumping in the portal early in the afternoon, jumping back out of it night. You want that. I mean, you want them not to leave, but you could save yourself a lot of grief if you talk to these kids ahead of time. And I thought it was interesting today at Coach Pittman's press conference. He talked about the right way to get in the portal and the wrong way. Yeah. The wrong way is to do it and announce it yourself without talking to your coaches. The right way is to talk to them and then get in there. Now, a lot of these kids, and there's 3,500 plus kids from these 138 Division I football programs that have gotten into the portal. They're not all going to get picked up by somebody else. There's going to be a lot of shuffling around, but some of them are finding out that their self-worth is not what their worth is on the market. And that's why you're going to see plenty of them come back out of the portal. How they handle it, whether it be here at Arkansas or others, is going to be whether they're allowed back or not. But you basically, whether it be at Arkansas, Ole Miss, whatever, you get a salary cap now. You got a picture your guys under that salary cap. I thought it was interesting today. Coach Gibbon pointed out that he would rather have a lot of good players making good money than one player taking all the money. May or may not have been a reference to KJ Jefferson and what he got last year. I don't know. It could be, but it is ridiculous. I am 61 years old. I will retire sometime this decade. I bet. We'll see how Social Security does, stay in there and all that. But I don't have as much fun anymore because you got to deal with agents, you got to deal with lawyers, you got to deal with everybody else except the college level. And I do think that the NCAA, which needs to be criticized, just went willy-nilly on this, just threw some rules out. Now, like one thing that Mike Neighbors and I have talked about a little bit that I think needs to be a deal. These multiple transfers, this free agency every year, that's got to slow down somehow.
It is. It does. One way that you can do that, and this is something that I've kind of tossed out there too, is that you've got to have some players that might be willing to have some security over a 2 to 3 year period where they sign a 2 to 3 year contract and not have these 1 year contracts every time. There's going to be some players that might actually benefit financially over that 2 to 3 year period that they might not get as much money on a 1 year contract, for instance. Because what incentive does Sam have if he's got a player that leaves, hits the portal, he thinks he's worth $35,000 a month, for instance. And I still think that there is some GM or some schools out there that intentionally tell a player or not a player, but they tell an agent, hey, you might get 35,000 over there, but we're going to give you 60,000. They hit the portal, they figure out, oh crap, they're only going to give me 37. I was in a great situation, and now they're trying to get back over to the school that they're at. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that if you have some security, what's the stop of not going ahead and signing that 3 year contract?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as it plays itself out. Just like in the NFL, NBA, whatever, you find these guys you can get on 1 year contracts, and you'll bring them in to finish out your roster. I see some of that happen. Now, I am not. I guess I'm about to bash agents, although I'm about to hopefully put it in the right perspective. Our son Brooks is a music agent. He's works his butt off. Has been very successful. Is doing really well, but not every agent is out there for their client. They say they are. They're out there trying to get money. They're trying to get maybe the most money into the best situations, and I think that's tough for a lot of these kids and young adults, which we have to say now, since KJ Jefferson's applying for a 7th year, other people are trying to stay in college because there's more. You can get more. Devin, I know you can get more money working at a football for a football team now than you can for let's say a sports outlet.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things. You just dealing with agents and dealing with lawyers. It has diminished. It has helped the players, but it's diminished it for a lot of people, and they're upset. And then when fourth of your team heads out the door, then you get upset. I guess Selman Bridges went out the door earlier today and came back in it tonight.
He may have forgot a coat and decided to come back in and just say, forget it. I'm not going to freeze outside. I'm going to come back home where it's warm.
It's discount. You could pick your local retailer, but it's the discount out. They put them out there, and it's at a big price. And then the next day you go in there and get 5 of them for $1.
Yeah, and Marshall, by the way, he said that if they're taking applications, he'd be more than happy to be the GM at Arkansas. I think he'd do a hell of a job too at it.
I tell you, whoever it is going to have to work their butt off to catch up. And that's the situation that I'm sorry, and I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. Arkansas was behind on NIL. It was behind on the portal. It has been running and playing a game of catch up this whole time. The 9-win season was a great thing for the University of Arkansas. But since then, the whole dynamic of the college football race has changed really in all the college sports. And they're running uphill. They're down 15, they go back up 18, and then have to fight it off at the end.
when Arkansas goes over to Memphis for the bowl game here later this month, right now they're sitting at right around 60 scholarship players. We talked a little bit. You mentioned that Texas Tech is mustered up. I think they've lost 11 starters.
That is the deal. But any of them that decide they're going to play can still come back and do that for the bowl. So they started practice earlier than Arkansas did. So it's I had forgotten that there were so many players out, so many starters out when they played Kansas. And Coach Pittman reminded us of that today. But still, 25, out the door. And I say 25 because I don't have the clicker up here. Be going on and off. I just, I'm sure it's going to be an entertaining bowl game, but do I suspect it will be one that is a defensive showcase? No, there's going to be plenty of points scored, just like the last Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, that was an interesting game. It was 50-48, if I'm not mistaken. Arkansas playing Kansas.
I kept changing my lead in my story several times, so there's something. It was way up there.
Yeah, I feel like every time you finally got something nailed down, you're like, crap, backspace. It was really tough for that one. With the offensive line that he has right now, he talked about it. He said, Kobe Branham's going to get some run. Joe Moore is going to get some run. You might see the kid from Bryant, the walk-on, what is his name? Edmondson. There's Amarian Harris. Sorry, he had that chance against Kansas, and he really hasn't left the starting lineup since then. Is there a player that you might see get that chance that he hasn't had that chance? Because Sam talked about it. Guy sitting off to the side, just quiet, waiting his turn. Is there somebody that you see maybe that might be able to step into that spot and grab a spot and not let it go?
Well, they certainly praise Kobe Brandon a lot. He's a guy that was getting, coming in as a sixth offensive lineman, somebody off the ball and, short yardage situations and all that. They seem to really like him. The problem to me is you're going to have to use a lot of money, a lot of time getting your offensive line restocked in this portal thing. Obviously, they got a 6'8", 375-pound guy from Oregon tonight, was a top 100 player, somebody that you would think even if he didn't start there at Oregon last year, he has the frame and the pedigree to be really good. But you're going to have to do that, and you're going to have plenty of guys. You threw out some names. Obviously, there's some guys coming back, but that's a spot they're going to have to load up on. What was funny when somebody asked Coach Pittman today, well, what are you going to need? Well, there's safety, there's quarterbacks, there's linebackers, there's tight ends, there's offensive linemen and defensive linemen, kicker. They got. So, but you just say they have to be the best players at every position. Now it's just that simple.
What I did notice, though, is he did not mention quarterback, other than the fact that Taylon's coming back. He knew right before he went, or right after he got out of surgery, that Taylon was coming back. That's one of the stability positions on the team that Arkansas really has kind of wondered as of last year. I mean, how is this going to pan out? How is this going to look? Because you got a guy that's going to handle the ball every snap. Taylon's going to have the ball in his hands. I would guess that there might be a quarterback challenge, or there might be a question at quarterback. I mean, is because you looked at Taylon with the interceptions, he has got to clean those up. I mean, is Madden Iamaleva, is he going to come in and is he going to challenge Taylon? I mean, those are one of the things that I think really kind of helps Sam at this point, because he's having to look at all the other positions, but the one position that really matters the most, he's not having to worry about.
Yeah, well, here's the best thing about this quarterback room. You would have liked to have kept Malachi Singleton around, but I understand why he decided to transfer out and look for a place he could start, because he saw that he knew long before we did that Taylor was for sure coming back, just as Coach Pittman said today. They've known for a week, and they've been pretty certain. So A.J. Jackson, who hasn't played since UAPB, they like him, but I just said he hadn't played since UAPB, so you know what you got here. These bowl practices are going to be very important to him. He'll be here during the spring. Both, it's my understanding, both of the quarterbacks they signed, Madden, and congratulations to you for saying the last name so well. I'm going to just, I'm going to work on it over the spring and summer, see if I can get better right. He's going to be Madden to me. And then Grayson Wilson, is here, and Austin Ledbetter's still here. Austin Ledbetter, I guess, right now is your third quarterback, and we know how quickly you can get to those in bowl games and stuff. I think they're going to be okay at quarterback, but I wouldn't be, stunned if another one popped in here sooner or later. And the fact that they're all going to be here this spring is a really good deal. And I think they said 18 of the 24 kids they signed as freshmen or junior college kids are going to be here. And then I understand most of these 29 guys that they have visiting and would be January guys as well. You can't get in the portal and get here in August and July and make a difference.
Yep. And also really quick, the QR code up there on the top right-hand corner of the screen goes directly to torchestacos.com. Go and pick up any of their swag, food, throw an order in, they'll get you taken care of. And also thank you to Carbless Cocktails for they're going to be sending us, Dudley, to the Liberty Bowl. So big thank you to them as well. So we're talking about a lot of the ins and outs of what's going to be, what this roster could look like. Oh, by the way, we do have still Riker Acebo on the list there. So, I mean, in a pinch, either Austin, Riker, you name it. We still got a quarterback somewhere. But with what has transpired.
Quentin Murphy's a kid that also plays some quarterback at Little Rock Parkview that, is another option there, although I think he's listed as an athlete. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I think that's going to be I'm looking forward to the Liberty Bowl. I really am. And I think, and like you said, I think there are going to be some points scored as well. I don't think it's going to be this huge defensive struggle where there's going to be points are going to be a premium. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be a pretty free-flowing game. Last time Arkansas played Texas Tech was here back in 2015. That was the Patrick Mahomes-led Raiders that came in here and beat Arkansas 35-21. Last time Arkansas played them, though, it was one of those things where you were like, you just dominated them the year before at their place. And then he comes in, and Mahomes does the Mahomes thing. And that's when you kind of start to see the writing on the wall with him is like, man, this guy is really good. He's really young, but he's still really good. And I don't know if there might be, I'm not saying that there is, but there might be one of those players that's a diamond in the rough that you might be able to showcase and see you play. One of those players I'm going to point out to you really quick. I think Monte Harrison could get some legit run in this game. He's an older guy that really kind of you need in the locker room to kind of balance the waves. I mean, he played professional baseball for 10 years. He's a guy that can lead a room. He's a guy that a lot of guys will listen to because he's been there. He's been to that. He's been to the professional level before. And I think this could be one of those times where he can shine and say, coming into this next season, by the way, this is my room. This is my team. And this is how it's going to be ran from the locker room side, which is desperately what this team has needed for the last couple of years.
Yeah, he and C.J. Brown are going to get the opportunity to make a lot of plays. They'll have some other guys out there. I thought it was interesting. They brought up Shamar Easter, who's kind of been a forgotten tight end, who they've always talked about needing to get better at his blocking situations, that they were probably going to play him some wide receiver during that game. We know he's a fantastic athlete.
Yep.
He could be a matchup problem for people. We'll see. I'm glad he's at least going to get on the field. That's if I had one criticism, I think they played too few people too much, and they need to do a better job in development in that situation.
Yep. I'm excited to see exactly what's going to happen because this is giving some players an opportunity that they may not have had, giving us a little bit of extra run as far as depth on the roster, and it's giving these guys a little bit of extra pub, saying, "Hey, you know what? This is your time to shine. Go out there and prove me wrong. Make sure I want you to go out there and show us exactly what you've got and what we have in you, so that whenever the portal does open back up in April, we don't need to say, hey, we're going to go get some other guy. We need you to step out. They know exactly what they've got, and they want to help continue the process of making them better over the offseason.
Let's just be honest about things. I expect Arkansas to lose the Liberty Bowl. I expect Texas Tech to have more people that have played this year, to have more cohesive stuff. So I'm going into it thinking they're going to lose. If they win, what a surprise and what a nice jumping off point for next season. I'm anxious to see a lot of these guys play that didn't get to play. And again, I go back to the statement I made earlier. Are we really that upset about guys transferring that got Arkansas to 500?
Yeah. That was one of my remarks last week, talking amongst some friends, is that some of these players that are jumping off that were 5-5 or 6-6 at 500, do you want some of them to come back? Because they only got you halfway. They only got you half good and half bad.
I don't know how much you mentioned it during the early part of the show, but obviously Coach Pittman made it clear that they saved money on the freshman class they wanted to put toward the portal. Yep. When they met with some of these kids that got into the portal that were on the squad right now, and they wanted a certain amount of money, they had a limit they were going to go to, but they were going to save a great amount for the portal because they believe that they can have a better team next year by going through the portal. Now, if you only didn't have that schedule.
Schedule's crazy. It really is. I know that Sam had mentioned it. He said he's had that screenshot in his phone, in his pictures, for the last couple of months, and he looks at it and just shakes his head. It's brutal.
Pain pill when you do that.
What's that?
Probably have to take another pain pill when you do that. Goodness gracious, Notre Dame coming here. That should be fun to have them here, and there's a little gap between the two teams right now.
Small. But you know what? Arkansas has a chance, and Sam has a chance to go into the portal and close that gap. And that's what he has to do. Robert Williams, he's asking a question. He said, I'm going to ask for my brother. He's in Texas. He wants to know if Pittman's going to be back next year. Most definitely. Sam will be back next year.
2025, yes. 2026, we'll see.
Question mark. Yes. And what does Arkansas have as far as GM? There is no GM here at Arkansas. That's something that Sam did talk about this afternoon, that him and Hunter are going to go. They're going to evaluate and see exactly what the best course of action is. I mean, eventually they are going to have a general manager or something in that capacity, because listen, it takes pressure off of Hunter. It takes pressure off of Sam, and that's something that they need so that they can concentrate on their job. Hunter to go fundraise, Sam to go coach. That's exactly what they need, and I think they're going to get it sooner than later.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that when the NCAA money is handed out, that will be available for them to add staff and all that. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. All the other SEC teams have a plethora of support staff to add into their assistant coach pile and all that. Arkansas, from my understanding, from my research, is at the tail end of that in the SEC. And that is something that if you're going to compete and not compete just on the football field, but if you're going to compete at the highest level, you have to be able to have these same opportunities that you can, to be able to go out and get the best players, but also to get the best people to help those players develop. I mean, I say it all along. I didn't get my beautiful wife because I was good looking or anything. Wasn't rich. Man, I'm funny.
I don't know, man. You're pretty good looking too. Gotta say.
I match hats, glasses, and shirts.
Hey, as my kid says, man, you're making the drip fit, my friend. You're making the drip fit.
I've got a barn out the back of the house here, as you can see.
Well, Dudley, man, let's get you out of here. We're going to be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 for the Arkansas Diamond Report, myself and Dudley. So be sure to jump in with us. And we'll be talking women's basketball and pretty much anything else that's kind of hanging out there tomorrow. So again, thank you, Dudley, for jumping on with me this evening. Marshall, thank you again for jumping on with me this evening. This has been the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk with special guest Dudley Dawson and Marshall.
By the way, we are having a press conference that was scheduled today for Mike Neighbors. We are going to have it in the morning before we do our show. So I'll have some fresh stuff on that. So.
Ooh, fresh tidbits. I love that. Also, if you want to see any of the coming or goings in the portal, go follow Otis on Twitter or go on to the hogville.net website on Kirk's Corner, and he'll have everything listed as far as signees that are coming in from the portal, Razorbacks that are leaving and going to the portal, Razorbacks that are staying here. He's got it all. And that's so he's out there actually busting his rear for us to give us the most up-to-date coverage. And I want to thank him for everything that he's doing as well. And we're just going to tote the bag for him so that he can concentrate on that and hopefully get some rest.
He can sleep in January. We're all going to do, man.
Exactly. No doubt. Come on, December 28th, man. Once that hits, might be able to sleep a little extra. So, well, everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. This has been the Arkansas Football Report. Take care. Go Hogs.
Y'all, it's time for some damn good tacos in college football. We're excited to announce our title sponsor, Torchy's Tacos, for the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk, and the new addition to the Hogville.net family, the Arkansas pregame show starring former Hog running back Marshall Foreman, hosted by Jason Pattison. If you're looking for a place to unwind and call the Hogs, Torchy's is the place. Torchy's location on MLK in Fayetteville is the proud host of the Arkansas pregame show, and it will air 2 hours prior to kickoff of each Fayetteville home game. The Arkansas Football Report airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. in Rogers. Check out the full-service bar on the patio or in the restaurant while you cheer Arkansas on to victory. Torchy's has you covered with the daily drink specials or the taco of the month with their queso that's made in-house fresh daily. Torchy's has 2 convenient locations in Northwest Arkansas, which happen to be the only 2 locations here in the great state of Arkansas. They have you covered for some damn good tacos, and go Hogs.